lot of people are not understanding that life is going to get progressively more expensive in the near future. I think we know that it's going to get more expensive, but I don't think a lot of people are understanding why. My husband is a trucker. I'm super familiar with the trucking industry, which I personally believe is one of the backbones of the United States economy. So I wanted to break down just what the trucking economy is looking like so that you guys can understand a little deeper what people are talking about when they say that when gas gets more expensive, everything gets more expensive. And I'm even gonna draw you guys a little diagram just so you can really visualize it. So just to make sure we're both on the same page, you and I both know that our president bombed the nation that constantly said that they would block off our access to gasoline. And then just to get one more detail straight, there are contracted truckers and then there are day-to-day load board truckers. Contracted truckers, they have a contract, let's say with Walmart. Walmart says, okay, in 1 year, we're gonna pay you this much money and you're just gonna do this route every day, every 2 days. You're gonna pick up here, you're gonna drop off here, and you're gonna do that for a year and that price is locked in. On the other hand, day-to-day load board truckers, what they do is every day their dispatcher or themselves looks on what's called a load board where brokers have listed different loads that they need moved from point A to point B on behalf of the client. The brokers list the price in the budget that their clients give them. They take out a percentage for doing the work of finding a trucker to move it, sending out the contracts, making sure everything is safe and on time. So those are the basics. My husband is a load board trucker. So every day he goes on the load board and he looks for a load that will pay him what he thinks is a good amount. And then he takes the load from point A to point B. So this is my husband right here. My husband owns his own truck, has his own trucking company, and pays for his own gas. Previous to our single brain-celled president bombing our supply, my husband would get a load from this little broker right here for a fixed amount. Almost every week, it was almost the exact same amount. No complaints. My husband made a profit, broker made a profit, everyone's happy. Then on February 28th, our single brain-celled president decided that it would be a good idea to once again destroy our nation's supply of gasoline. So that meant that gas was getting more expensive almost immediately for my husband. But here's the thing, we had already bombed Venezuela. We've in fact already bombed Iran. So the prices that were being messed with could have been stabilized pretty quickly. And so my husband was like, you know what? I'm just gonna eat the cost. So now he has a lower profit, but he's still making good money, so it's not a big deal. Except now 2 weeks have passed. This war is still ongoing. Price is not only increasing, but it is increasing daily. So every single day it gets more expensive for my husband to be able to take this load and still make money to feed himself, myself, and our baby. And so eventually he decides, I actually cannot sustain this anymore. If I keep going like this, my family will literally have no money to eat. So I need to talk to the broker to see if they would be willing to pay a little more to get these, let's say, strawberries from point A to point B. So my husband calls the broker and says, hey, I'm not making enough money. Can we please lift this a few $100s? The broker says, it's a little pricey. It's going to be a little tough, but because we trust you and we like working with you, we're going to up your pay a few $100s. Great. So now my husband is not taking home more money, but he's actually making a profit that is sustainable for our family. Meanwhile, the broker is paying my husband more and taking less to feed themselves and their own family and saying, you know what, let's just give it a couple weeks. This war's going to end. Gas is going to even out. We can go back to what our usual prices were. So now the person carrying the burden of gas pricing is the broker. But now it's towards the end of March. This war is still going on. Gas is still increasing on the daily. Nobody's making any more money. And now the broker is saying, shoot, I actually cannot take any money home. I am now at risk of not being able to feed my family. So what do? They reach out to the client who needed the load moved from point A to point B. So let's say this is your local mom and pop grocery shop. They're trying to get their strawberries from California to Utah, and they reach out to the broker to see if they can find a trucker to get them moved. Or maybe it's the strawberry farmers trying to get their strawberries from California to Utah to the mom and pop grocery shop. No matter who it is, it's just someone trying to get a load from point A to point B. The broker says to this client, hey, actually, we are not making any money because gas is expensive and the truckers are not able to continue to take cheaper loads. Do you think you can up your budget a little? So what does this guy say? If it is the grocer is going to say, sure, I can pay you this much extra. And they are now carrying the burden of the gas cost. Now, here's the thing. This person here has a lot of customers. And so it's much easier for them to disperse the cost of whatever it is that they need to get moved rather than the broker who needs to increase it by a few hundred to one individual person or whatever it may be. And so what they do is immediately ratchet up the price of the strawberries that you, the customer, are trying to buy, okay? So now guess who is carrying the burden of that load? It's you and me. You and I are now both paying 50 cents extra for strawberries or whatever it is that needed to be moved. So now you and I are at the grocery store. We're looking at the strawberries and we're saying, oh my gosh, 50 cents extra. When did strawberries get that much more expensive? But it's just 50 cents. So we buy it. Except for now it's early May. This war has not ended. Gas prices are still going up. Guess what the trucker is now saying? The trucker is now saying, I am actually at a point where I'm making no profit again, and I will not be able to feed my family if we keep this going. So guess what they do? They talk to the broker, who talks to the client, who raises the prices on the customer. And this continues until this war ends, and even after then, because gas prices will not immediately stabilize. The people at the top of the transportation chain rely on gas prices to see how much they'll be able to take home each month. And this goes not just for trucking, but for shipping and for airplanes. And so long as prices are going up, truckers are asking for more, not so they can take more home, but just so that they can make ends meet. And as I described with that chain, you and I end up paying that price. The crazy thing is, truckers actually often have fuel cards, which allows them to get a certain % of discount at some name brand gas stations. But even now, using the fuel card, they are paying way more for gasoline than they have ever paid the past 5 years. So when people say, oh, I'm willing to pay gas prices to make sure that Iran doesn't have nukes, or whatever lie it is they're believing, understand it's not just gas prices. It's going to continue to be everything else. Everything you buy on the weekly is going to cost more week by week because of gas. And that's just the trucking and transportation industry. I'm not even touching on big tech, big AI. I'm not talking about the stock market. I'm not talking about college loans and every single little factor that is playing into our economy. I'm hoping to warn you guys right now, if you guys do not have a bunch of canned food and non-perishables in your food storage, please just buy one extra can or one extra dry pasta or whatever it may be to last you in case you literally cannot afford groceries. That way you already have it in your storage, because things are going to continue to get pricey. And again, this is not to fearmonger. This is just to inform you guys of how our gas prices are impacting our economy so that you can really picture it. And it's not just this nebulous thing that might or might not happen. It's happening. It's already happening. Chances are you're already feeling the pinch. And the most laughable thing to me right now, it's funny, but it's not funny, is the fact that tons of truckers were so supportive of Donald Trump because they said that their economy would improve. Here's the thing. At some point, the clients are not going to be able to pay the brokers more, and the brokers are not going to be able to pay you more for taking the load. So when you thought that this con man that everyone told you was a con man was going to improve your economy just because, it's not happening. And I wish you would have seen that. I wish you would have taken your head out of the dirt earlier to notice that this man does not care for your ability to feed your family. But maybe now you can learn from this lesson. Hopefully it doesn't hurt you that bad, and make better, more informed decisions in the future. Because I promise you, you're not the only one upset about this economy. Everyone is.
A lot of people hear gas prices are going up and think it only means spending a little more at the pump, but it's way bigger than that. When fuel gets more expensive, entire industries start feeling it almost immediately, especially trucking. And trucking is one of those industries people don't think about much until they realize basically everything they buy had to get delivered by somebody. If you own your own truck, higher fuel prices aren't just annoying, they directly cut into your income. You're doing the same job, driving the same miles, but suddenly it costs way more just to stay on the road. At first, a lot of people just try to deal with it and hope things calm down soon. But there's only so long you can keep absorbing extra costs before it starts hurting your ability to actually make money. And that's the part people miss. Nobody can keep running a business forever while their expenses climb and their profit keeps shrinking. Eventually, something has to change. Either prices come down or the people doing the work get paid more. And that's the only way to keep things sustainable. And once that starts happening, the higher costs don't just disappear. They move up the chain. The trucker asks for more money because they can't keep taking losses. The broker has to adjust. The business is paying for the shipping has to adjust. And eventually the cost lands on regular people. That's why random everyday stuff slowly starts feeling more expensive. You go to the store and wonder why basic groceries cost more than they did a few months ago. It's not always one simple reason, but transportation plays a bigger role than people realize, because almost everything has to be moved from one place to another. And when moving products gets expensive, businesses usually aren't going to eat that cost forever. So consumers end up feeling the pressure even if they never think about trucking, shipping, or fuel prices in their daily life. It's one of those things behind the scene that quietly affect almost everything people spend money on. And what really makes people frustrated is when prices keep climbing but their income doesn't. Now your paycheck might look pretty much the same, but groceries, bills, and everyday expenses start feeling noticeably heavier. You begin second-guessing purchases that used to feel normal. Stuff you wouldn't have thought twice about suddenly feel expensive. And that's usually when people stop caring about complicated economic explanations and start focusing on one simple question. Why does life feel harder to afford right now? Because for most people, this isn't about charts, headlines, or political debate. It's about whether they can comfortably pay bills, buy groceries, and keep up with the cost of living without feeling stressed every single month. That's why conversations like this connect so many people. Because even if they don't understand every part of the economy, they understand the feeling of everything getting more expensive while trying to keep up with the same paycheck.
I'm sorry, guys. I really try not to get political on my page. But when I seen these prices this morning, I was like, what in the war, what in the Trump are these prices right now? So look, you see what they say? $1.25 for corn each. I have never ever seen one piece of corn cost $1.25 each. And then I was scanning some more lemons, 64 cents each for one lemon. Is actually 64 cents. That is very, very expensive. Wait, I think I seen something else that kind of blew my mind. Oh, somebody who I work with, she was telling me about the price of bell peppers. I don't think we got them priced because we had to move them, but she was telling me that each bell pepper now is $1.25. And she was like, look how small they are. I mean, these prices are going through the roof. And wait, walk with me. She told me one more price that was expensive. Now, with this, I can say this price do go up seasonal. But right now, we're going into the season where this price should not be this high on this product. But she can't stop talking about it. Look, watermelon, $9.42 each. That's usually a wintertime price. But everything is truly going up, up. I hope you're ready for this. This is going to be a long ride, y'all. Bye.
Yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys noticing this affecting you in your daily life or anything? Or is this something that you think only other people are experiencing and you're not really experiencing? Or anything, to be honest. Just let me know down in the comments, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, hope you guys all have a great day. See you guys in the next one. Peace out. Like and subscribe.